My name is David Jagno from the Koalition.com, and I'm the senior editor here to bring you our official video review of Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection. This collection contains both the first and the third Dragon Ball Z Budokai games, remastered in HD. I'll be walking you through both games. First is the introductory sequence for the first Dragon Ball Z Budokai game. As you can see, they employed a very similar style to the introduction for the English version of the anime. It contains the iconic song, Rock the Dragon, as well as all of the scenes from the cinematic sequence in the anime, demonstrated with a 3D animation of the characters. As you can see, the art style is 3D character models and environments, as opposed to a cel-shaded look that the third game decided to employ. Both styles are very plausible, but I personally prefer this third game better. Once you get through the introductory sequence, you're taken to the start menu, where you can choose to start a new game or load a current game. Once you're into the main menu, you have a few different options. First is the story mode, which takes you through the arc of the anime all the way up through the Android saga. Next is the duel mode, where you can play against another player locally or against the computer. Then the world tournament mode, you can construct brackets to play against other players and computers, just like any other tournament mode in the fighting game. Then is the practice mode, where you can train and get better at the game yourself. You can edit the skills that you can customize for individual characters. And then there's the options menu, which contains things like difficulty and screen ratio. So let's go into the story mode directly. As you'll see, it's loading up part of the way through the game, right after you defeat Vegeta. The narrator is the same as the one that's used in the TV show, so it really does feel like you're being part of the anime. The 3D visuals have seen a slight upgrade, but it's hard to tell because the animations really aren't that great, especially in the cutscenes.
Let's go to Namek!
They even have names for the different sections to really make it feel like you're part of the show.
Well, I'd better start my training if I hope to stand a chance against Vegeta.
Before some missions in the game, you'll have to go through training missions that are little mini-games that task you with completing a certain task, usually multiple times over and over. And this example is very frustrating, as I had to deflect a single ki blast 15 times back to the enemy. This is only one example. As you can see, it's not difficult, but it's just frustrating to have to do this over and over. Another example of a training mission you might have to do is engaging in a rush attack with the enemy. This is very frustrating to do. At least you only have to do it 5 times. It's difficult to get the computer and your attack to both line up at the exact same time, but when it does happen, it's very exciting. Especially whenever you're playing against another player, because you both have to rapidly press on the buttons to try to push more times than your opponent. Then the winner gets to have the damage output at the end. So let's go into the duel mode now, just so you can get a taste of what the actual combat is like in the game. As you can see, you can play against a second player, against a computer. You can even set 2 computers to play against each other.
Let's get on with it.
In this fight, we see Goku and Vegeta facing off against one another, the most classic rivalry from the anime. You can perform different combos with punches and kicks. If you perform enough combos in a row, you can even launch off one of your attacks, such as a Kamehameha Blast. If you paid attention, you might have noticed that the Kamehameha is actually a yellow blast in Budokai 1, which did frustrate me because I'm a big fan of the series. Let's transition over into Budokai 3, which is a better game in my opinion.
So which are you going to play? You'll get stronger as you fly all over the world, battling powerful opponents. Sounds exciting!
It's a nice touch having Goku explain what each different mode does for you. So let's go into Dragon Universe, which is Budokai 3's version of story mode. Instead of going through the entire story as one single campaign, you play individual characters, and you see what their sides of different stories were like. It even has its own kind of RPG elements because you level up, gain stat points, and upgrade your character. As you can see, you're faced with the world map. The art style, you can immediately tell, especially on the character model, that it's a much more cel-shaded style of design. Also, being able to explore the map allows you to look for items, play in side missions, fight unnecessary opponents just to level up, and participate in story-based matches as well. Let's go into a battle point here. This is just a minor side story match. As you can see here, I'm face off against a Cyberman, and I'll just show you a little bit about what sets apart Budokai 3's combat system. Right off the bat, you should be able to immediately tell that it's much faster. You can dash forward and backwards. Combat is actually a lot quicker. The combos happen much faster. There's more flexibility in the combat system. You can easily do your beam attacks from far away, and it was blue, unlike Budokai 1, which is just a small nitpick of mine. And you can also go into an ultimate attack mode, where you can do more damage, and it slowly drains your ki meter. Also, this is called Dragon Rush mode. The attacker and the defender both press different face buttons. If the attacker and the defender choose different face buttons, then the attack continues. If they choose the same face button, i.e. the defender happens to predict what the attacker chose, then it ends. In this situation, I was lucky. I got all three of them correct, and it does a lot of damage. This can easily turn the tide of a battle if you're able to pull one of these off. After combat happens, you gain experience points based on different bonuses and things that you did within the match. They total up at the bottom, and then you can use those to level up your character. You can choose from a variety of different stats, and as you do that, it levels up that character to use within the game. Your health, your attack, your ki, everything can increase as you play. In addition to leveling up your different stats, you even have a skill/item tray. As you can see here, I have a few different attacks and items equipped, such as the Kamehameha, Spear Palm, Kaioken technique, and many others. Whenever looking at your different skills, you can even pull out the card and turn it over to look at what the different abilities are. This lets you customize your character pretty extensively. As you can see, the Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection has a lot of content. There's a lot to do and a lot to see in this game. If you're a fan of the anime and you're a fan of the games, then I recommend you pick this up. However, if you already own both of these games or own Budokai 3, I don't really recommend you pick it up because there's no online, and the visuals aren't upgraded enough to really warrant a second purchase. They do look nice, but it's not really enough to warrant you buying the game if you already have it. The inclusion of online multiplayer would have really set this game apart from the others and made it an awesome addition to the current-gen fighting library. Now for the score breakdown so you can see how I rate this game and how it stacks up against other games. Overall, I give the game a 76%. It is a slight upgrade over the original. However, the addition of online multiplayer and keeping the original soundtrack would have been nice. This was my video review of Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection. My name is David Jagno from the Koalition.com, and please click below to check out the article and comment and let us know what you think.